Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. We have a question from John Tabram, and John says, hello, I've watched your Peak Performance Golf Swing DVDs and I saw an improvement straight away, but the only thing is now that I slice my tee shots with my driver most of the time, and my playing partners are saying it's because I'm hitting down on the ball, but I'm only doing the catcher's mitt up the tree like on the DVD. Is there any way I can straighten up my shots, because my alignment seems very off? And seeing that your DVD made a difference to my game, I really don't want to go back to my old swing, cocking the wrist. Thanks. When are you back in the UK? Again, submitted by John Tabram. Well, we're working on trying to get me over there late September or October if my schedule can work in with Malcolm's and Leo's. And so we'll see if that comes to be. It'll be out there it'll be up on the site, and there'll be notices being sent out as soon as that comes to fruition. But let's get back to your question right now. Again, your question is so similar that I get so often about I can hit. It appears you can hit everything else pretty good except the driver, and you're making the driver the sole issue of the fact that you might can this swing and go back to your old one, cocking your wrists just because you can't hit the driver. The problem has to be the driver, not so much the swing, and not so much it can be the swing, but the driver's got to be the problem if everything else is going pretty good. So the key can be, number one, it's too long, the shaft isn't correct, not enough loft on the club, because many I don't know, you don't say what your age is, but as we start losing club head speed as we become seniors, we need more loft to get a better launch angle, and a better launch angle gives and with more loft you get better hits when you get a better launch angle, and it will get more distance, especially if the fairways are kind of soft where you're not getting a lot of roll. So the first thing you want to look at is go see a certified club fitter, or the best club fitter you can find, and normally that would be somebody who just find out where all the good players go, all the pros and all the really good players in your area go, and go to that guy. And if you don't have a Swing Surgeon certified club fitter there, but if he's certified by the Swing Surgeon company, then you know that he's the top shelf in terms of doing all the high quality, high tech stuff, checkpoints, and applies those in building your club. All right, but what else could be happening by what I hear with your swing? All right, you talk about the driver, so I'm going to go ahead and pull my driver out. And again, as one of the things with the driver, it could be way too long, and stiffness, no matter what the shaft says, there's a good probability the stiffness is not the same there. So I'm going to go ahead and tee this one up here. All right, well, that's quite high. I have no problem. I could hit it if it was up this high if I want, because once I set my body and I keep my knees quiet, they're going to the knees stay level. My whole body stays level. The point of my arms, the shoulders stay more level, and I want to hit the ball more consistently. Good. What happens a lot of times with folks, now that I started talking about the knees, which pops that into my mind now, and it wasn't even in my original thoughts to speak about here, was that sometimes as the clubs get longer, the legs start getting more active, and especially if the forward leg gets more active and it tends to be kicking inward. For most golfers, once you move your forward knee no more than an inch, the knee's going to start going down. And if the knee goes down, it pulls the hip down, which pulls the forward shoulders down, the shoulders forward, downward, and that tends to pull the body forward. And bingo, what do you have? Just like you said, all your playing partners say that they say you're hitting down on the ball. So that's one of the biggest reasons of hitting down. If the knee goes down, you've basically reverse tilted and gone forward. And then as you start to straighten your leg up, because you're forward, you're going to be going more forward. You're going to be coming down and popping the club up and hitting down on the ball. In many cases, that's where we see sky marks on the top of a golf club, because they're coming down so steep that the top of the club is hitting the ball, and it starts putting sky marks. That is, it's scraping the paint off the top of the ball. And that's definitely the sign of a player going out and over the ball and most likely moving forward. That same motion, even with level knees, could happen. And you made something about you feel like your alignment is incorrect. If you're aiming to the right, that same thing will happen as you having to turn your body sooner in a downswing, or actually start it with a turn, which moves. If the shoulders turn left, the left shoulder and the left side turns left. The right side's going out over the top, and that's getting ahead of the ball. And there's that same steep angle of attack, chopping down on the ball, which, as your friends say, that's what they see you doing. So those are the two big probabilities, I think, as far as the that concept of chopping down on the ball rather than, as we want to do, swing up. And to swing up, you got to get preloaded heavy right. You stay back here. You'll be able to take the club straight back and he catches mitten up the tree, straight through and a mitten up the tree. And all good impacts. And this should be easy to do when you get to a driver, which will be somewhere up around the forward ankle. But even still, if you make a pretty good swing here and you start your swing like this, look at your butt, your head goes forward. All you have to do is come out here and look at your shadow and just see what happens. The head's supposed to stay relatively still, and if anything, in a perfect transition, the head should go backwards just a little bit. And when I do the bump, because that creates, as Dr. Armstrong calls it, the secondary spine angle tilt. The hips run away. And so the spine tilts backwards, and Dr. Armstrong calls that the secondary spine angle tilt. And that's what keeps us behind the ball at impact and allows the hands to do what? Allows the arms and hands to straighten out coming into impact. And so you impact the ball from behind it, the arms straighten out, and then you go into the forward mitt and you stand up to the tee finish. So I would look at those issues as far as the chopping goes. It has to be more than anything. You're slicing across the ball. Could be alignment causing that too. And so you have to keep the knees level and stay level. And you do all that, and you should get a swing that looks something like this. Okay? And you get up to that tee finish. But ultimately, probably the first thing I would do is you definitely want to work on those things, but check your driver out. Make sure the length is correct for you, the shaft is correct, the lie angle, and those things can all be done with a good finding a good certified swing surgeon fitter or someone in your area who all the good players go to, and to make sure that your tool is correct. This tool has to fit this tool, and there's a high probability it doesn't, because most drivers today are made way too long. My driver is 43 inches, and it's still about, by today's standards, about 5 degrees flatter than normal. And the head was ordered that way, special, and some companies will do it for you, but it's very rare. And Doc Griffin gets them for me that way. And then the other thing would be that you definitely make sure that it's the right length for you, because for most golfers, I mean, even a lot of golfers 6'3" do not need 45 and 46-inch drivers, and the longer the driver, the harder it is to hit the sweet spot and to get the club to accelerate and the toe to square up to impact. And if you can't do those things, you're not going to hit the ball solid, and you're not going to hit it very, very straight. And your swing is going to be involved with more manipulations and movements to try to get the club to the ball. And so the length is critical. And so get that checked in, as well as having the right shafts in there, especially in the driver. The longest club, so the margin of error is increased with a driver as compared to especially your irons. Less loft, longer club, more hitting the ball, glancing across the face is going to start more off line and fly farther off that line as compared to irons. So the drive is critical, but when it's basically one or only two clubs in the bag giving you a problem, it's not the golfer, it's the club. Get that, start with that, checking that, and you'll find that in many cases a lot of those other problems, if they're still there, will be a lot less and will be a lot easier to correct when there are a lot less to do. So start with checking your equipment. All right, get that driver checked. And I guarantee you right now, if it's 45 or 46 inches, you can probably start right there, and you can do it yourself just by choking up on the club, and I'll bet you'll see an improvement. Or sometimes I challenge a lot of guys, go, if your wife plays, take her driver out one day and just hit hers and see the difference. Or go and borrow some other friends who's got a wife that has a driver, or borrow one out of the rental clubs at the club, and take a driver out even just to the range and try it. Or at the driver range, they probably definitely will have ladies clubs to give you to try, and just hit that, and I'll bet you find that you'll probably hit the ball better. The heads are smaller and the shafts are shorter, and that alone will probably give you a real quick clue that it's very likely the length. Okay, length combined with having the right shaft in there. Okay, so for the swing wise, club wise, start by checking the club when it's only one or two clubs, and I think you're going to find that you'll get your problem under control a lot quicker, and it's not your swing. It's your piece of equipment, your tool. Okay, that's it for the Surge for today, and I'll be talking again soon.